Chris Lovell here with another edition of Pirate Talk. We want to thank Texas Tech Federal Credit Union, home of the HERO program. It's a $1,000 closing credit on any home loan for educators, military, first responders. So we want to thank you to the folks at Texas Tech Federal Credit Union for sponsoring these podcasts. Pleased to be joined with one of my favorite people, Bridgett Rogers. She's the head coach of the old girls soccer team over there at Lubbock-Cooper.
Yes,
and
sir.
so we've known each other for a while. And so how did you, because this was your, I think, Coach, this was your first, like, job right out of college. Like, this is, you just showed up and it's like, let's coach some soccer. Am I right there?
Actually, went and got my master's, wanted to
Okay.
work in professional sports.
Oh, okay.
So I had an internship.
What did we want to do in professional sports now? I'm fascinated to hear that.
I interned in event operations with the Dallas Cowboys. So
See?
it was actually Dak and Zeke's first year. So it was a great year to be interning with Cowboys.
Wow.
Was on the field for all the action, saw the
Okay.
field goal Green Bay, scored to win the game, go to playoffs, I believe.
Okay, that's right.
A lot of Cowboys fans bitter still about that.
Yes. Did you grow up a Cowboy fan?
I did.
Okay,
I
yes,
did.
me too. I mean, me too. I'm a Metro. Where are you originally from? Tell me where Bridgett Rogers is originally from and went to high school and all that stuff.
I'm from Keller, Texas, in Fort Worth.
So, which is Metroplex.
Yes,
Yeah, so,
yes.
Yeah, I'm from Fort Worth as well. So, Cowtown.
Yep.
Shout out. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I had no idea that you did that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you kind of got into it, and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah. The work-life balance wasn't ideal for me.
It's professional sports. Yeah, they don't care about your personal schedule.
Oh yeah, get there at
it's-
8, leave at 2 in the morning, back there at 8 the next day. It was just a lot of hours.
Yeah. Okay. And it's fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
And
it was a
that's why
great
we-
time.
That's
And
why
you
we all
know,
do this stuff.
wasn't married, no kids, so
Okay.
that's an ideal time to do something like that. But
So did you ever meet Jerry Jones?
I did.
Was he nice to you?
Yeah, he was nice.
Okay, good.
My
Okay.
intern friend and I were invited to their Christmas party, and so
At Jerry and Gene Jones's house, kicking it with the Christmas party. Wow.
it was a great experience. It's
Oh,
a great
yeah.
story to tell.
I bet so. Yes. I had no idea. Okay, and so from there, you're like, okay, let's maybe do something teaching, coaching. Let's get around
Right,
what I love,
right.
which is soccer.
Right.
Okay.
And so I came back to Lubbock for an internship with the academic department with athletics, and I
Okay.
helped at-risk football players.
Okay.
Still wasn't finding what I thought was my fit,
Okay.
and so I started subbing. And then from there, I was like, okay, I kind of like this. And, at this point, it's a couple years past college soccer, and I'm like, I'm really missing soccer. And then this opportunity at Lubbock-Cooper came up, and
Here you are.
yep,
Okay. Yeah, and that was back in, I want to say 2018.
I think so.
Okay, 18. Yeah, and you start off as an assistant,
Yes,
and then the year after that,
Yep.
they're like, "Hey, here's the keys to the bus."
exactly.
Yeah, keep it in between the lines there. Okay, so do you still? I'm fascinated by the Cowboys thing. I had no idea. That's what's fun about doing these with some of you guys. So Kyle Lovern sits there and tells us, "Yeah, I interviewed with NASA." I'm like, "Excuse me?"
Oh, man.
Okay, yeah, do what?
That's a
and
little-
you work for the Dallas Cowboys and all that stuff. Had no idea about some of these things. That's the beauty of. Do you watch the Cowboys all the time still? Or
Not
do you-
religiously. My husband does. I
yeah.
bet you know Colton.
Oh
does.
yeah. I'm a big fan of his. He's good people. Okay, so and started doing soccer and coaching and all that. Did you think at any point when you were a player, because we're going to get to kind of what you did in college because you played at Texas Tech, did you think at any point kind of growing up or playing, I'd really like to coach this. It would be fun to kind of do this for a living, or is it just something that kind of happened?
I mean, it was something that just kind of happened.
Okay.
It was crazy because my first practice, I stepped on the field and I was kind of nervous. I was like, I've played this sport my whole life, but coaching it is a completely different
gotta
aspect
convey
of
the-
it.
gotta convey the
Exactly.
info, yeah.
Because I know how to play. I know what I'm doing. But trying to teach kids that in the way I know, it's just so different. But, after that first practice, it became second nature, but it's just a whole different aspect of the game.
Because you're like a teacher,
Exactly.
ultimately, but you're just teaching a sport.
Exactly.
And so, is it fulfilling?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
knew
I love
that.
it.
Yeah, and so, and this is a soccer program here that's not really been around that long, and
Right.
that's got to be kind of fun too. You didn't have a stadium there for a while, and now there's a nice stadium out there and on a high school campus. And so, take me through kind of the program's growth and kind of how it's kind of gotten better and better as the years have gone along.
Well, I'm sure, as you know, soccer isn't huge in Lubbock.
It's a Metroplex, Denver,
exactly,
Colorado kind of
exactly.
thing, and all the because I mean everybody that plays it youth-wise, you got to drive to Frisco
Exactly.
every weekend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so initially when this program started, we had a bunch of kids who were in the Red Raider Soccer Academy, which is just a youth academy that Texas Tech Soccer has and provides for the kids to help soccer grow in Lubbock. And then we had some kids who played rec soccer but hadn't played in a while. And so as the years went on, we started getting more players as soccer has grown in Lubbock that have played club, that travel to Dallas, that play local clubs that started up. And so now we're at the point with our program that almost every single player plays on the club team. And that just shows the growth in Lubbock with soccer, the opportunities. We've got girls who travel to Dallas every weekend. We've got girls who are playing for local club teams. And so it's just...
Traveling to Dallas every weekend, that would wear
can't
me
imagine.
out. Yeah,
I can't imagine.
Yeah. Tough on the budget and
yeah.
like just tough with your time. And it's like, man, you'd like to have a weekend where you just sit home and
exactly.
chill.
Well, and that's what you have to be understanding with the girls. You know, they get back from a weekend driving from Dallas. They're exhausted that Monday. They're at school. They're at practice. And, you know, it's just one of the things you have to be mindful of with them.
Yeah. And indoor soccer is kind of a thing here in town, too.
Yeah, love indoor soccer.
Because that kind of keeps them going
Exactly.
and all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I grew up, this is probably, I'm dating myself here, but Dallas Sidekicks.
Love tattoo.
Oh, exactly.
Yep.
Yes.
I grew up going to those games.
Yes. One of my dad's buddies owned that team. So we were at the first.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yes.
I played a little make it take it tournament on their indoor field, and that was
okay. Yeah.
We loved it.
Oh yeah, it was all bouncing off the wall, and it's like Fast and Furious and all that stuff. Yeah, that's fun. Because that's one thing I was going to talk to you about. So I see your schedule, and I've got your schedule here, and you guys start December the 6th and start scrimmaging and do some different things, and we scrimmage all the way up until the first game on December the 30th.
Yep.
And I'm thinking to myself, man, it's cold outside.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you are in the dead of winter with this sport. December, January. I mean, you're gonna, even if there's mild parts of the winter, and if there's harsh parts of winter, you're still gonna see it.
Oh yeah.
Because you're rolling all the way through December, January, February, March. That's the way it's always been, though.
Yes.
UIL soccer has just always been in those winter, kind of early spring months.
Yep. We have to endure some of the worst weather of the year.
And so like tights and gloves for the kids and what, I mean, you're trying to figure out any way they can to
We've
keep
got
warm.
the huge coats that they wear. They're like little marshmallows just walking around on the field and on the sidelines.
Oh yes, I love it. You told me before we started the podcast. You're like, okay, so for your coach's gear, you went to the ski department and Under Armour. You're like a mountain like stuff, and so yeah. I mean, I don't blame you.
No
man.
wind comes through, no rain comes through. My sister and I were living the life.
whatever to keep warm. I get it. But kids already understand that because they're already playing in the cold weather. Okay, because I don't function well in the cold. It like is like I'm a Texas guy and all that. I'm used to just being in hot and all that stuff. And sometimes the winters here are a little more mild than others, but the wind is what is. Yeah.
I mean, it's something else.
What did that new stadium do for you and having your own field and playing on turf and all that? Because it's like everything now is on turf, which is fascinating. Has that changed the game at all, or is it just now that's pretty much what everybody has, isn't it?
Yeah. And, you know, we're very, very lucky to have our field. You know, we're not having to coordinate with other sports teams. Hey, are you using the football field during this time? Hey, are you using this grass field at this time? Because that's what we did originally before that field was here. Okay. And now we just have the luxury of we have the field. We don't have to coordinate times. Like, we can do whatever we want, when we want. And it's really, you know, something that most high schools don't have.
Yeah.
It's extremely rare. And it's, very fortunate.
Lights out there?
Yep.
Yeah, see. I mean,
and we just operated it on our phone.
Okay.
And that's how we turn them on. It's wild. And it's just crazy that in West Texas they have these awesome fields. But, you know, I posted a picture of our field on our team Twitter one time, and it just blew up. You know, like 200 likes, all these coaches commenting. Like, it's a beautiful field.
Yes.
It needs the recognition.
Absolutely it does. How many, okay, so we're kind of in, you know, beginning stages of fall. You know, we've got Thanksgiving and Christmas still kind of off into the distance, but you guys are about to get started. But what are your kids doing in these like September, October months to kind of prepare for the season? Do you have them just during the period? Do you have them, when does after school stuff start? I mean, kind of take me through that dynamic.
So right now we just have them during the period. We're fourth period every day.
Okay.
After school doesn't start until November 29th.
Okay.
And so
right when it's really cold.
Oh yeah. But right now, you know, it's a balance of figuring out everything soccer, organization on the field and all that, but also balancing it with fun. Team bonding, at the beginning of the week, we did an activity where the girls wrote quotes on huge poster boards that we're hanging in our locker room, really setting the tone of what we're going to look like this season, how we're going to tackle this season, and really, playing games so the girls have that chemistry with each other, so it is apparent on the field as well.
That's part of being the coach. Does the team have a theme yet this year?
And so it's really the same theme we had last year, and it's we is greater than me.
Okay.
We've got a lot of talented players on our team, and with that, those players could just focus on their own success, their own goals, but we're focusing on making it we. We want to focus on our goals as a team, where we are going to go.
Okay. How many teams do we have?
We have two.
Okay, varsity and a JV.
Yes, sir.
Okay, how many people will be on a team, like give or take?
So
20?
we have 16 on varsity and 16 on JV, which is drastically less than last year for varsity. We had 22 last year, but that's a heavy roster for soccer.
Because 11 are on the field at the same
Correct.
time, right? Okay. How many returners from last year do we have?
11, which is almost unheard of for a varsity team.
And this is a team, 4th round in the playoffs.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it was the furthest they'd ever gotten, right?
Yes, sir, with about eight freshmen. And this year we have 12 sophomores out of our 16 roster.
Okay.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're building it.
Exactly.
I think 4th round of the playoffs, lost to Grapevine, a really, really good team.
Who went to the state final. So.
Yeah, there you go. No shame in that. But I remember as this was playing out last spring, this was a big deal as you guys kind of got further and further. Like, okay, uncharted territory.
Exactly.
Had never breaking down some barriers there. I thought that's a lot of fun. Tell me about, so how did you end up at Tech? Who all were you recruited by? And kind of you grow up in Keller and Tom Stone recruits you. Who else? Like, what other choices did you kind of consider?
I had the Texas coaches come and watch my games, which I know. I was a big Texas fan initially, and so I was really excited about that.
Everybody kind of was as a kid, because that's when you go to the stores. That's what all the A&M and Texas gear is all over the place. I was guilty of the same way back when I was a wee little type before I smartened up. But that's fun.
Yeah,
okay.
A few smaller schools. Your OUs. OSU's, LSU. After I had committed to Texas Tech, TCU coaches came to me after one game saying, "Are you recruited yet? Like, are you at school?" I'm like, "Yeah, sorry." Yeah. And
so that's how that works. And then they say, "Okay, we'll leave you alone."
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Some sports are not like that.
At that time.
Okay.
And and I didn't really give them the time of day. I was dead set Tech. Tom called me after one of my tournament games. I was in Houston. I was at lunch with my dad, and he goes, "Hey, I want you to come visit Texas Tech." I looked at my dad. I was like, "Let's go."
So I texted Tom and I said, yeah. So I said, so this is what he says about you. Bridgett was a huge part of our program, ability to pass the ball, because you were a defender.
I was center back.
Yeah, you were center back. Okay. She was the best passing defender we ever had, recruited to that point, and allowed us to be much better with the ball and without it. She ran track in high school?
Yeah, I ran the 400.
Okay, which is a brutal race.
Yeah.
That's basically the one sprint around the track,
Yeah.
Which is a nightmare. The 400 and 800 are just
they're awful.
Brutal. Yeah, that's right.
It was the only race I was good at, so I had to stick to it.
Well, that's so your fitness obviously was really good, is what I hear him saying here. As a teammate, couldn't ask for a nicer, sweeter person. She was a joy to have around, and also about the team over herself, which is why I think it's pretty cool that you have we is greater than me, because that's you something you clearly really can't say enough about what a class act that she is. So I thought that was kind of fun. I want to make sure that I told you that. What did you learn as a college player that has helped you in coaching? Playing at that kind of level and understanding what it's supposed to look like, and maybe some things from Tom or his staff or whatever that you kind of are able to convey to your kids.
Really just the vision of the field, trying to get our girls to play at a higher level, not just settling for, okay, this is good. I want us to strive for great. Playing soccer, it's such a mental sport. And I don't think a lot of people know that. Like, you make a mistake, it could potentially lead to a goal. You make a mistake, it goes to the other team. And that's something I struggled with a lot in college. And so now I've got athletes who, if they make a mistake, they are so hard on themselves. And I know, I'm like Tom, what Tom did to me in college. Bridgett, you made one mistake out of a whole 90-minute game. You're fine. Okay. And so that's something I'm doing now with my athletes. Hey, you made one bad pass, you're totally fine. You do not need to get mad at yourself.
Focus
and that's
on
the mental part of the game has been probably the biggest struggle everything else you can teach, but the mental aspect of it is one of the hardest things.
Yeah, and you know what I think is funny is that there's these terms in soccer that are only used in soccer, so it cracks me up. But like fitness is one. I just mentioned that to you.
Yeah.
Basically, every other sport is like, hey man, they're not in shape or they're not whatever.
Right.
But in soccer, we call it fitness. Their fitness level.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it cracks me up. But that's all you do is just run.
Yeah.
I mean, you just run. Two 45-minute halves in high school, or do they do two 30-minute halves?
JV's 35, varsity's 40.
Okay, so it's an 80-minute game.
Yeah.
Okay, now do we have if we get to a draw at the end, do we do penalty kicks to decide it, or do we have a draw?
We do PKs, but it's still a tie.
You can still
So it's an interesting rule.
Kind of points,
right?
But not all the points,
right? Exactly.
Which bugs me about soccer. It's
Yeah.
like I want a result. I'm
That's
out there
how
in the
I am.
cold.
That's how
I'm out
I
there
am.
in the cold. I've invested time. We've
Right.
practiced. Someone needs to win or lose.
And they do overtime. So
Okay.
there's an overtime.
So-
then it's
okay. So it's like college a
yeah.
little bit. Because in college though, you don't
I
have
mean,
PKs.
and that's a new rule, and it
Yeah.
drives me crazy.
Yeah, because I think Coach Stone's team this year, particular year,
So
they have
many
like
draws.
3 draws.
Yeah, a
And you
lot.
start playing for that. Like, let's just play keep away a little bit,
And
not.
that's with teams who are playing a more aggressive team or a more talented team. They're going for that tie. You know, they don't want to lose. They're
and it's
going for
just-
the tie.
yeah.
For RPI points, it looks better than a loss.
Yeah, there's something that's wrong with that, in my opinion. But yeah, so fitness level I thought was funny. Tell me where do we have scarves? Where did the scarf and soccer like kind of become synonymous with each other? Is that like because that's a European thing?
I think
and it's
so.
like because it's
I
colder.
think so, yeah.
And everybody that's like the thing, right?
Right.
Okay.
I haven't gotten into the scarves much, but I know our boys program sells scarves every year.
See, okay.
But I'm
Okay, but it's a soccer thing.
It
yes?
is 100% a soccer thing.
Okay. Do you have a favorite? Like, do you watch any of the professional soccer? Do you watch a lot of college soccer?
I love college soccer.
Okay.
I've grown to, love college soccer. It's just a different style of game than, a professional
Yeah.
game. And so recently I've been watching UNC, Duke, and I'm
ACC
like,
stuff.
oh yeah, I
Okay.
love ACC soccer for some reason. I mean, the speed of the game,
And
the
is
players.
that league the best one?
I
Probably
think
in college?
ACC,
Okay, yeah.
ACC, SEC, probably Big 12.
Okay.
But
And I think it's really cool because I get a call from you, I don't know, a couple of months ago, and you're like, you were approached about doing some of Tech's games on ESPN Plus.
yes.
And you've done 4, I think, telecasts. Awesome. So proud of you for doing that.
Thank you.
Did you enjoy doing that? Because
I
you were the
did.
analyst.
Yeah.
You were the
yeah.
analyst next to a guy that I work with all the time for Tech basketball, and Jeff Haxton. And I just think that's so fascinating that kind of your worlds were colliding there. You played there, you love it, and it's like, let's just go talk about it. And,
Right.
and all that
right.
stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. I told you and Jeff both, thank you. I couldn't have done
Oh,
it without
no,
y'all's
we
help.
didn't- we didn't do
I kept
anything.
texting
Yeah.
you, Chris, how do I do this? What do I say here?
You were fine. You nails on it.
But, I watched probably 20 plus college soccer games and listened to their analysts to see when they talked, how they spoke. As an analyst, they use a lot of different adjectives. So I was saying, okay, what kind of word can I say instead of a great ball?
and don't overthink it. Yeah,
right.
that's what we
And
never
that's
wanna
exactly what
do.
I did, though.
Yeah. Oh well, don't overthink it. And it's okay to let it breathe sometimes too.
Right,
You just don't.
right.
Sometimes you don't have to say anything. I have to learn that myself, except for when Cooper makes a 50-yard field goal, and then I just can't help it. I can't help it. Yeah. So, did you being an analyst and watching the game play out differently? Is there anything you were able to convey from a coaching standpoint that you're seeing it from a different perspective that helps you be the coach at Lubbock-Cooper?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah,
I wondered if it would.
extremely. Yeah, because you're looking, again, at the game differently.
Analyzing it.
Exactly, and you're having to explain every single thing they're doing, leading to a goal, which I do in high school soccer, but not to the extent of, an analyst.
Okay. Because it's playing out in
Exactly.
your mind and you're...
it's live. I'm having to talk at the same time. It's very different.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Hopefully you keep doing that. That's been fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so coolest place that Bridgett Rogers has ever traveled to is what in life?
In life?
Yeah.
I went to Vail in Breckenridge, Colorado.
Okay. Well, Colorado's never a bad
It's
answer.
beautiful.
Yes,
It's beautiful.
yes. And it's cold. It's cold. Yes, most of the time.
We
I guess,
love the
unless you're going in
mountains.
summer.
So.
Okay. And speaking of, your husband Colton, he's going to help us do some baseball broadcasts and stuff.
He's excited about it.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I mean, he knows the game and all that stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think that'll be good for Cooper baseball.
Yeah, I'm excited to listen.
Okay, Thanksgiving is near. Favorite Thanksgiving side dish? Because we
Oh,
all do everybody does the
Oh,
turkey and the ham.
man.
I need to know favorite Thanksgiving side dish.
I might get judged for this one.
No, I need.
Green bean casserole.
Oh yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. and we only get that like that time of year. And then it's like
Exactly.
it just goes away.
Exactly.
I'm like, why? It's a good because people are either thumbs up, thumbs down. Candy corn.
I love candy
Yeah,
corn.
I know. Yeah, this disappoints me.
I eat it by color.
This disappoints me. Favorite professional soccer team? Do you watch anybody professionally? Because that has become such a thing, and there's these massive TV contracts with and it seems like professional soccer never stops. There's always some
Right.
league going in the U.S. or in Europe or whatever, men, women, all the above. And it's hard to keep track with. Do you have a team professionally that you kind of pay attention to watch, or you stick to college?
I usually stick to college. I watch a couple of NWSL games, and I've got a
Okay.
few teammates who play.
See, okay, love it.
And so
Okay.
we've got Kirsten Davis, who plays for Kansas City, I believe.
Okay.
Jaylene Hinkle, yeah.
Kansas City's a crazy soccer town.
Oh yeah. We've got Jaylene Hinkle, who plays for the Courage, and then we've got Janine Becky, who is playing for the Thorns.
And so, she plays on the Canada national team.
Yeah.
and
So
all
I
that
like
stuff.
to, as weird as it sounds professionally wise, I like to watch teams that my teammates are on.
Oh, absolutely. No, you're rooting for
I love
the person.
exactly.
Yeah,
I love keeping up
absolutely.
with them, seeing what they're doing.
Totally
and
get it.
Yeah.
Do you, so whenever Olympics show up or World Cup
yeah.
shows up, U.S. Women's National Team,
Yes, yep.
which is the standard.
Yep.
And they are just running circles around everybody, and
Yeah.
it's kind of sucks in a way because if they don't win the whole thing, whatever they're in, it's like okay, failure.
Exactly.
Because they're so much better than everybody. Do you point your kids to college level examples or professional level examples to say, see, this is what this is supposed to look like?
That's exactly what I do.
Okay.
I actually, it's funny you bring that up. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I was trying to get my girls used to a certain passing pattern that I want them to learn and implement in real time games, and they were kind of struggling with it. Then UNC, I was watching one of their college games, and they did the exact play that I'm looking for my players to do. Recorded it, sent it to them, and I said, "This is what it's supposed to look like." And all the girls, I know. They're like,
Light bulbs.
oh, this is what it
Yes.
looks like. It's hard sometimes explaining it, doing it when it's them doing it instead of, it's easier probably just to watch it and then play it out.
Film is a great teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, film is a great teacher. Okay, let's talk about your schedule a little bit, and we'll let you get out of here. But how do you build a schedule? What are you looking to try to do? You trying to really challenge yourself? Are you really trying to stay in certain parts of the state? Are you looking to get out? Take me through your schedule.
I really like staying in West Texas.
Okay.
We originally were going to go to Dallas, but some things came up. But, this year, as you look at our schedule, our first game is against Friendship. 6A, great team, lots of talent.
Okay.
Coached by a former college coach at LCU. So Lauren Denning knows a great deal about soccer. She's a great coach.
Okay.
You see, we have Wichita Fall Rider.
Yes.
Fantastic soccer school.
Okay.
Carl out there, great coach.
Okay.
So another.
So you're trying to push your kids.
Exactly. I
Okay.
want them to get exposed to those harder teams to, build a greater program. If we win that game, that's great. If we tie, that's great. If we lose, it's not what we want, but we learned.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So.
You teach, I preach, kind of thing,
Exactly,
right? Yeah, there you
exactly.
go. There you go. And your district, will your district be loaded, or is it
Our
kind of
our district's actually fairly hard.
good?
Okay. Abilene schools are always challenging. Abilene Wiley actually is coached by a former teammate of mine, and so
Oh
yeah.
wow, no, that's okay.
Yeah, so we keep in touch, all that, but they're a great program. Coronado, as I'm sure everybody knows, is always great. They've, district championships back to back for a while now.
Okay.
Hopefully that changes this year. Monterey's extremely talented with a new coach. They got last year. He's coached them up really well. It's just a very loaded schedule, so no game is taken lightly.
Do you have any athletes right now in other sports this fall, or are you dealing with your team and pretty much that's who it's going to be? You're not waiting for volleyball or basketball, or I don't know what else would be going on, or whatever else would be going on in the fall to wait to get players, or you have your team now?
Thankfully, we have one. and she plays soccer outside of school.
Oh,
and so
okay.
she's in volleyball right now, but she plays outside of school. So
Okay.
fitness is still great.
Okay.
Touch is still great. You know, when she comes
I
back.
love the terms. Yeah, love it. I absolutely love it. I'm here for it
Yeah.
all. Yeah, I'm here for it all. Okay, so first match is against Friendship. It's a home
At
match,
home.
December
Yep.
the 30th. You'll be scrimmaging plenty of the times in between Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that stuff. Well, to our favorite ex-Dallas Cowboys employee right here, Bridgett Rogers, that was good. You crushed it. Nice job.
you.
There you go. Okay, we'll do that again sometime soon when Coach Rogers' season gets a little bit closer and kind of maybe we're in the middle of it. But stay warm out there with your winter parka and all that. But that's it for that's another edition of Pirate Talk.